Jai Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskajai Dasatarani. So we see on the screen the overview, a brief overview of the entire Sri Upanishad. We discussed the first section last 2 days, and today we will start with the second section, verses 4 to 8. 4 to 8 explains or enlightens us in how Ishvara, or the Supreme Controller, can be understood by spiritual vision. And in verses 9 and 11 we will hear about right and wrong knowledge, but for understanding Ishvara. 12 to 14 is the right and wrong worship of Ishvara. And the last section are prayers of the spiritual seeker to Ishvara to reveal himself. Now this is a section of today that so understanding Ishvara by spiritual vision, that so in the first part, the first 2 verses which we will discuss today, Ishvara is inconceivable to our normal intelligence. Therefore, I gave this gave this section the title, Why is Ishvara Inconceivable? That so there is a progression in these verses. First, Ishvara is inconceivable to our normal intelligence, and then we need to develop spiritual vision. See Ishvara in this world first, by seeing events and people with equanimity. And then when this further develops, then the Lord will help us from within to understand Him, will reveal Himself. This is also according to the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is asking to Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, how can I see you in this world? And then Krishna speaks about his more than 80 vibhutis in the 10th chapter of the Gita. And in the 11th chapter of the Gita, that Krishna shows his universal form, how he's present in this universe. And of course, our vision, when it develops further, we find Krishna in our heart. That and then Krishna, Dadadi Buddhi Yogam Tam, gives us realizations by which he reveals himself to us. So that's also in Bhagavad Gita. Now, this is an overview of the mantra, but we will first read the mantra. Mantra 4. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Aneyate Kamanaso Chaviyo Nainadeva Apnavam Bhuvam Aksat Dadavatonian atjeti tistat, tasminna pomataris fatadati. Although fixed in his abode, the personality of God is swifter than the mind and can overcome all others running. The powerful demigods cannot approach him, although in one place he controls those who supply the air and the rain. He surpasses all in excellence. So this is the verse is swifter than the mind. So what is the point here? That he's saying that he controls those who supply the air and rain. Yeah, we have the overview of this section. The first point is absolute truth cannot be understood by speculation. So one can understand the absolute through revelation. The absolute truth cannot be understood by speculation. Why? Because it is uncertain. There is no certainty in speculation. We stay always unsure. There is no positive knowledge about God like in the Abrahamic religions. What does God look like? He loves, but his form is not described. That is certain incomprehension. So in 2004 I was in Bergamo in Italy. We were attending a meeting of the ISKCON Communications Europe, and we had a meeting with that Monsignor Machado, who was at that time the representative of the Vatican for Hindu relations. And we asked him, how does the church see the question was, what form of God does the Catholic Church accept? And he said, it's the form that it's the form that Moses saw on the mountain, which was a form which was like a very bright light in the bushes. That was his answer. That looks like the impersonal Brahman. I was shocked to hear that, because I'm coming from that background, and that's the first time I heard such a thing. But yeah, speculation. Because what does God look like? They try to love God, but his form is not described. There's a certain incomprehension in these religions. But God is infinite, and we are finite. Therefore we cannot understand God unless he reveals himself. Gradual elevation to increasing devotional dedication. Just a moment, I have to leave for a moment. I'm coming back soon. So, I'm sorry for the interruption. So God is infinite, yeah, we are finite. Therefore we cannot understand God unless He reveals Himself to us. So gradual revelation to increasing devotional dedication. Like the sun rises in the morning. The sunrise is gradual, but our realization that the sun has risen is there every morning. The sunrise is gradual, but our realization is that the sun has risen. So every day we practice devotional service and the Krishna sun is rising in our heart. There are flashes of inspiration that comes where we create a background of steady engagement in devotional service. But God is not alone. He has His energies that Srila Prabhupada in the purport writes that fire is always connected with heat and light, and at the same time heat is different from light. So we cannot analytically separate both. They are an organic whole. There is analysis and there is synthesis. Analysis is breaking things into parts for our understanding. Synthesis is putting it together and make it work. So analysis is insufficient. When a child learns a language, it's through synthesis. The child understands the language through functioning. Then later the child learns the analysis. This comes later, the understanding of grammar, and this is a noun, this is a pronoun, this is a verb. So like to learn German, I take a textbook. So that's an analytical way. Yes, Mandaleshwar.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Question was that why Krishna is not exposing understood, because he's telling that nobody can understand him without his mercy of a devotee, and nobody is perfect to understand. Why Krishna is trying to not reveal his to anybody? Why he's keeping secretly? And he's saying that powerful persons also can't understand that.
Yeah, and that we are discussing presently in another group in Act of Devotion. And that is an interesting question. That devotional service is confidential. Why? Because one who becomes advanced in devotional service, he will control Krishna. And Krishna will not be controlled by the love unless there is pure love. Another reason is why it's confidential, that to understand the Supreme Lord, one must be pure in heart. That in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, I explain you this knowledge because you are sinless, that you are my devotee. So Krishna makes that arrangement that he can only understood by bhakti, ananya bhakti, pure love. And that is his arrangement that he made. That And yeah, because we are here, because in the material world, because we have been rebellious. And Krishna respected also that he doesn't want to disturb our enjoyment in this material world, but there is also suffering to call us back. But if we want to know him, Krishna gives the way how to do it in the Bhagavad Gita. But yes, here it is said to know him, that then when we meet devotees, we become attracted to the culture and the living way of the devotees. So when devotees learn from synthesis, then later they learn why devotees are so kind. They understand that they are not a body. Then analysis comes later. In real life, it is synthesis that makes things work. Then later the analysis comes. Analysis and synthesis are both important. Srila Prabhupada in the Vishnu Purana, its potencies are compared to the heat and light that emanate from a fire. Although situated in one place, a fire can distribute the light and heat for some distance. Similarly, the Absolute Personality of Godhead, although fixed in its transcendental abode, can diffuse its different energies anywhere. So the Supreme Lord is one unit, and he has energies, and these energies are distributed everywhere. So we have here in the next slide the Lord and his energies. Fire burns. So fire is which that what happens when fire is there, then there is burning always. Both are related, but are not entirely the same. If they were the same, then there is no need to say burning. Just say fire. But if you want to explain that fire burns, we use the verb burn. In other words, burning is a property of fire. So we are limited. We can understand the unlimited only through his revelation. That brings us to the next slide. Our material talents come from God and are best used to glorify God. Then they will bring us the greatest happiness and will do the best service for others. We need to be a part of Krishna's plan. If we try to be separate from Krishna, we suffer. Because we are part and parcels. Mama Vamso Shiveluku Jiva Buddha Sanatana. So all living entities are Lord Krishna's parts. If the mind is filled with unlimited desire, then there is karshati, struggling. Thus, use all talents in the service of God. So there are materialists, there are impersonalists, there are devotees. For the materialist, only the world is reality. For the impersonalist, they say the world is illusion. And the devotees, they say the world and the spiritual world both are real, but the spiritual world is eternal and the material world is temporary. So materialists, by singing mundane songs, they are expanding their illusion. They use their talents to become more and more trapped in illusion. Impersonalists, they forget their talents. Just go beyond this world. And the devotees, if someone has the ability, then that is not false, we say. Krishna says, I'm the ability in man. How can it be false? Actually, Lord Krishna is the ability in the people. The ability is coming from Krishna. So we can use this ability to take us to God or to take us away from God. So that is our free will. Our abilities should be used to take us to God. Whatever branches of knowledge are there, the ultimate purpose is to glorify the Supreme Lord. So bhakti means using your talents in the service of God, to glorify God. So when will God reveal himself? When we serve him. And how do we serve him? By using our talents in his service. We need to act according to the Lord's will. In the purport, every part and parcel of the complete whole is endowed with some particular energy to act according to the Lord's will. When the part and parcel living entity forgets his particular activities under the Lord's will, is considered to be Maya, illusion. Thus, from the very beginning, Srila Upanishad warns us to be very careful to play the part designated for us by the Lord. This does not mean that the individual soul has no initiative on his own. Because he is part and parcel of the Lord, he must partake of the initiative of the Lord as well. So what part is given to us by the Lord? Earlier, in the Vedic system, that happened to the Varnashram. The essence of Varnashram was to help people to cooperate, to live in harmony with the Lord. So the Varna is an arrangement for taking care of the bodily needs. The Ashram is an arrangement for making spiritual advancement. Now the essence of this is that different people have different talents, natures, and they need to be engaged accordingly. So in the beginning of our movement, there were very expert book distributors. They wanted to introduce their own method for book distribution in other temples. But when they asked Srila Prabhupada replied, don't tell other people what to say. Inspire them, and they will find their own way to serve. That's interesting. So we are all unique. The Bhakti scriptures explain that in the spiritual world everyone has unique characteristics. Individuality is ingrained within us. That individuality cannot be disregarded or neglected. No one can force anyone else to serve Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, yes. Initially the car is not moving. Then some people from outside push the car and the driver gets the car started. So others will come and help us to engage in Krishna's service. We can inspire others but cannot force others. It is something that I need to perform based on my inspiration. Then only can I perform devotional service. If a person is sick, he has to take treatment. So Bhakti purifies our individuality, does not annihilate our individuality. From our place at our pace, join the race back to Krishna. That is the slogan. And that is Varnashram. From our place means where we are now. Our pace means not everyone can practice spiritual life on the same level. Then everyone makes spiritual advancement. We should live in the shelter of the Lord. Everyone can be accommodated in devotional service. Then everything will work out wonderfully. So when we cooperate with Krishna, Krishna will take care of his. Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. What do you want to do for Krishna? So there was a devotee that was at the Bhaktivedanta Manor in England. And he came to Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, I want to serve you. Ask me anything, I will do it for you. And Prabhupada's reply was, what do you want to do for Krishna? And the devotee said, it doesn't matter, Prabhupada, just tell me what to do and I will do it for you. And Prabhupada became a little more grave and said, try to understand our philosophy. What do you want to do? And what do you want to do for Krishna? What do you want to do? And do that to Krishna. That is devotional service. And the devotee said to Prabhupada, I will try to make mridangas out of another material than clay, a material that is unbreakable. So Srila Prabhupada encouraged him to do that. And he made many mridangas throughout his life. He made his first fiberglass mridangas, unbreakable mridangas, which we are still using in many places. So many devotees wait from Srila Prabhupada for some instruction in our movement. Spiritual masters are so busy. But if devotees recognize their interest for service, then they can do it. So my engagement in devotional service is also my responsibility. This does not mean that we do not need the mercy of the spiritual master, but expanding my service is my responsibility. The spiritual master will correct me, but I need to go my own way. So I discover myself having two faces. The spiritual face is I'm a spirit soul. And then the question is, what is my psychophysical nature? Then use them in Krishna's service. That will enable me to serve Krishna lifelong. Actions, emotion, and intention are important in developing our relationship with Krishna. Krishna says, Yeyatamam papachante tamstadev vajamyam. That Mama Vartmana Vartante Manusha Parta Sarvasa. As all surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. Just a moment, as I'm feeling quite sick. I have to leave again for 2 minutes. I'm back and then I will hear Chadvaita Prabhu. Just a moment. Hi Krishna, I'm back. Sir Advaita Prabhu, are you still there?
Yes. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. So I just wanted to understand, we hear more often than not devotees wanting to do their own thing and not follow the instructions. Now those instructions, obviously that in this context, we were discussing that devotees should be allowed to follow their own talents, so to speak, and apply them in devotional service. So how do we understand this contrast between taking instructions that could be completely opposite to the natural tendency of or natural capability of a devotee, and still be spontaneous?
Well, I have here Bhagavad Gita, and it's a verse that mentions twice in the Bhagavad Gita that says one should do one's own duty and not the duty of others, because doing the duty of others is dangerous. I'm just getting the verse. I think it was mentioned earlier. It's one of the verses that mentions twice in the Bhagavad Gita. So
1847.
1847. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's own nature are never affected by sinful reactions. So it is one of the functions of the spiritual master to engage his disciple according to his psychophysical nature. That's one aspect. But we have to be careful with that. It's not that we are in the temple and the temple president is asking us clean the temple room, and we say, oh, that's not my nature, that I cannot do. No, but generally we should be engaged according to our psychophysical nature. And why is that? Because the reason for that is, just a moment, I'm still here. The reason for that is that, yes, there are different stages of devotional service, and we have our psychophysical nature, and we have our spiritual nature, which is still covered over. But we have spiritual duties, and we have duties according to our body, our psychophysical nature. That So these are two kinds of Svadharma: material Svadharma and spiritual Svadharma. The material Svadharma or the material duties according to our psychophysical nature must become purified. If it's purified by using in Krishna's service, then we can do anything. But until then, until we are purified, we should act according to our psychophysical nature. And why? If you look in Bhagavad Gita, 10.9, that is the first. Machita machata prana bodhayantas praspran gatayantas machita machata prana bodhayantas praspran gatayantas mamatyam tushanti shamantisha. That thus the thoughts from pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always engaging one another and conversing about me. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes in the second paragraph, in the preliminary stage of devotional service, they release the transcendental pleasure from the service itself, and in the mature state, they are actually situated in love of Godhead. So in the beginning in our devotional service, we must, because we have still material needs, we must feel also materially satisfied. Because if we are not materially satisfied, we are not peaceful. And when we are not peaceful, we cannot practice spiritual life. That is important. Like Varnashram was made to bring everyone in goodness, without any worries, peaceful. That is a general arrangement, but there must also be an individual arrangement. The general arrangement is in Varnashram. The Brahmins, they take care of the education, the Kshatriyas of protection, the Vaishyas feed everyone. So there is no worries in such a society. Everything is provided what one needs and one comes to goodness. But also individually, we feel only satisfied materially when we act according to our psychophysical nature, and that nature is given to us to Krishna because of our past deeds, but it is our nature, and we must act according to our nature on the level where we are, and act from that point. Otherwise, we cannot do things in the long run. In the short run, we can do other things, but in the long run, we will never feel satisfied with the activities that we do. And I've seen that through the years. I've seen Sankirtan devotees distributing books that, but finally it's not their nature to sell books, and they cannot do it their entire life. After some time, they go back to the activities they did before, but they are doing the same activities, but in a different consciousness. You cannot do it for a long time. So that must be there. We can, yes, the spiritual master helps us to act according to our psychophysical nature. He may ask us to do other things also, but that's more occasionally. If he gives you that instruction to do that permanently, that will not work if it's against your nature. But like, it may not be our nature to distribute books, but once a year we go on marathon, and we still do it. But then after that we act according to our nature. That, does that help, child?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Maharaj. Yeah, this long term and short term makes it
Yeah.
perfectly understandable. I
Yeah.
think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we will try to finish this verse. So Krishna blessing is Krishna himself. He reveals himself in the heart of his pure devotee. If we are attracted to Krishna, then we are attracted to Krishna. Krishna is a role for us, a service. And as we progress, our understanding becomes clear. Devotional service is dynamic. We offer ourselves to Krishna and Krishna offers himself to us. So Krishna is the abode of all qualities and the reservoir of all happiness. The more we connect with him, the more we become happy. Srila Prabhupada's purport to end. All power is obtained from the Lord. Therefore, each particular power must be utilized to execute the will of the Lord, and not otherwise. The Lord can be known by one who has adopted such a submissive service attitude. Perfect knowledge means knowing the Lord in all his features, knowing his potencies, and knowing how these potencies work by his will. So this is the mantra 4. Are there any questions so far or comments? Otherwise, we can continue with mantra 5.
Sri Krishna Maharaj, Dandavam.
Yes, please.
Maharaj, by passion mode also person can do devotion?
Moment, if I stop this. Say again, Prabhu. Yeah, can you repeat your question?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, can you repeat your question, please?
Yes, Maharaj. Can you told now, Maharaj, that in Varnashram system, Brahmanic qualities are in goodness, and Kshatriya is in passion, and whereas Vaishya is passion and ignorance. Then anybody Kshatriya also can reach that same position that Brahmana is reaching.
Yes, by doing their duties according to their respective position. Arjuna played the role of a Kshatriya, and by serving Krishna with his passion to fight, he reached the perfection. Of course, he plays that role. He's a pure devotee of Krishna, but he plays the role. Yes, sure. But of course, if we perform devotional service and we are dominantly in passion, we use our psychophysical nature in passion, but that will purify the passion and we will come to goodness. We will come to goodness. But we have got this body in passion, and it will remain in passion until it turns out, until it is completely spiritualized. Yeah, because we have different kinds of bodies also. It's a complex matter. Thank you. So
Thank you, Maharaj.
I will now go to mantra 5. Yep. Just a moment. Yep, we are here. I will bring it on the screen here. Mantra 5. Here it is. This is mantra 5. Tat jati tat nay jati. Right then. I read it from the book here. The Sanskrit. 5. Tat jati tanay jati tad dure tat fantike tatantar asya sarvasya tatu sarvasyasya bhayantaha. The Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. He is far away but is very near as well. He is within everything and yet he is outside of everything. So yes, we have here the overview of the purport. So like Srila Prabhupada speaks mainly here in this purport about understanding deity worship as an example of the Lord's inconceivability. So we are in this second section. We are still discussing Ishvara is inconceivable to our normal intelligence. Now further. Here, three contradictory attributes of the Absolute Truth are mentioned. So yeah, that's something else. So he says the Lord walks and does not walk. Is far away and is close. Is inside anything and is outside everything. At first glance, this is contradictory. So we have the overview here. That's signs of deity worship. So inconceivable does not mean that we cannot understand. We can have some understanding. So the Lord is close by in deity worship. And the Absolute Truth has no qualities. So what does the word nirguna mean? So here Jiva Goswami in his Sandarbhas discussing this inconceivable feature of the Lord. The Supreme must be inconceivable. That means that the Absolute Truth is illogical. It's not illogical, but is translogical. Let logic be our minister, not a master. Don't make logic or a secular God. So what's the difference between illogical and translogical? Illogical means that which is below the logical level, and above logic is translogical. What does it mean, below and above logic? Below logic means that something does not make sense. Something is so insensible, so silly that it cannot stand the scrutiny of logic, and it falls apart. A person comes along and says that I'm God. So someone came to Prabhupada and said, I'm God. And Srila Prabhupada replied, I'm the Queen of England. It doesn't make sense. Translogic means in whose presence logic cannot stand. So God is so great and supreme and is superior to our logical faculty. Thus logic becomes supreme. Don't make God into a secular God. Don't make logic into a secular God. Logic is subordinate to God. So let logic be our minister, not our master. A torchlight at night helps us to see things in the light, but if I point to the sky with a torchlight with the intention to see the sun, the torchlight is not useful for us to find the sun in the sky. We need to use logic to understand what is right, what is wrong. Logic does not substitute for experience, no. If I go to a doctor to find out my disease, then I need to use my logical faculty to understand what the doctor is saying. Now, is it possible that just using our logic faculty that we can understand something beyond our experience? No, the process of medication may lead to recovery of a disease, but that does not mean that by logically understanding the cure that we will become healthy. We need to take the treatment. So, here rather than rejecting the absolute truth as illogical, we need to see the absolute truth as translogical. So how is the absolute truth far yet near? So contradiction, opposite statements that do not make sense. The paradox, opposite, seeming statements that make sense at a deeper level. So, what's the difference between contradiction and paradox? So, paradox, like, the least corrected people are the most correct. That is, you can say, is an example of it. That the least corrected people are the most correct. Similarly, the scriptures give us contradictory statements. The deeper meaning must be understood by deeper contemplation. Paramatma is an aspect of the absolute truth, and the absolute truth is closer than the closest, is in our heart. In Bhagavad Gita it says, Sarvasi Samridisa Nefisto Matashmitranama Pamsa. I am in everyone's heart. And at the same time, Bhagavan Krishna is having his pastimes in the spiritual world, far away. Brahma Samhita says, Pantastokoti Satavatsara Samprahyama Payora Tapyamanaso Munipungavanam Sopyasti Papya Prapapadasimya Vasintya Tattve Govinnamadi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord. Only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayam by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane, extending over thousands of millions of years. A moment, we come to that. So even the great sages are bewildered about the absolute truth. The Lord is far away, and we can't reach him, and at the same time he's in our heart. So as Brahman is all pervasive, but as someone offers him food he accepts, so he must have hands. So Srila Prabhupada brings out this point in deity worship. says the signs of deity worship. To say that God can appear as matter is to limit him. So you see here the child and the elephant on the screen, and here the child touches the head of the elephant. So the elephant has to come down, and then the child can touch the head of the elephant. So Krishna must come down to reveal himself, then we can understand him. So Prabhupada says then, to say that God can't appear as matter is to limit him. So the elephant sits down so that the child can touch his head. That's the example given. Yeah. So iconoclasts refer to those religions who do not believe in deity worship. They get delight in destroying deities. But how can you limit God to say that he cannot appear in matter? God is so unlimited that he can appear in a form in a limited form and still remain unlimited. Pillai Lokacharya gives the example of the elephant. The child wants to touch the elephant but cannot reach it. For the child it is not possible. But if the elephant comes down, the child can touch the head of the elephant happily. So with our material senses we cannot see the Lord. But when the Lord descends from the spiritual realm to the material realm, then we can perceive him. God is so unlimited that he can appear in a limited form and still remains unlimited. So the elephant can sit down and still have the same power as it stands. So God's primary concern is to make himself accessible to us. So when Krishna manifests himself as the deity made of matter, he becomes spiritualized. Krishna is not concerned with primarily with his mercy and with his accessibility. Therefore he comes down as the deity. He manifests to us and becomes accessible to us. Yeah. The deity may appear material to us. The deity can't move and cannot talk. Of course, we know the story of Sakshi Gopal, that a young Brahmin who had served an elderly Brahmin very nicely. An elderly Brahmin wanted to give his daughter in marriage to him, he promised. But then when he came home, the elderly Brahmin, when he told about his family, objected. So then when the young Brahmin came to the elderly Brahmin to ask him to fulfill his promise, he did not say anything. But his elder Brahmin's son came to him and said, my father never promised that. You are inventing that. Was there a witness? He said. And the young Brahmin said, yes. Gopal was witness in Vrindavan. Well, the man said, if bring Gopal here and he tells us about a promise, we will believe, otherwise not. So the young Brahman went to Vrindavan and explained the situation to the deity. And he prayed to the deity, please come with me to Vrindavan. And the deity replied, but I'm a deity, I cannot walk. And the young Brahman said, if you can talk, you can walk. And then we know the story that the deity followed him. So the point is that the deity has not manifested to show his omnipotence. The purpose of the deity is accessibility. We need to keep that purpose in mind. It gives devotees the opportunity to serve him. People of other religions consider their scriptures sacred. The sacred of the scriptures is understood by the wisdom, and then similarly, when Krishna manifests as the deity, then he manifests himself to give us an opportunity to serve him. Krishna manifests himself at the time of death in this world. His other manifestations are opportunities to serve him. So there are three ways of seeing the deity. Yeah, three levels. Shadamaya is thinking it's just a statue. When Radhanath Maharaj was in the 80s serving the deities in Vrindavan, in New Vrindavan in America. He was a pujari at that time, serving the deities. And his father came to visit him. And when the father saw the deities and the service he did, he said, "What are you doing? You are already 30 years old and you are still playing with dolls." That he saw it as dolls, his father. That you are grown up and you are still playing with dolls. So that's Jnanamaya, just a statue. And Manomaya is, we think, oh, it's a symbolic representation of the absolute truth. It's just a symbol of the absolute truth. But Sinmaya is, yes, non-different manifestation of the absolute truth. So Jnanamaya, it is just a statue. Why are these people worshipping a statue? So, if someone makes a statue of a film star, then the film star has nothing to do with the statue. Manmaya. A person perceives the deity as a symbolic representation of the absolute truth. They think the Lord is formless, but one needs to ascribe a form to the Lord because one wants to exchange emotions. Like the flag is a symbol for nationalism, patriotism. The flag invokes feelings of patriotism. The idea of a flag is wrong, and it is representing something abstract. So impersonalists would think that the absolute is formless, see the deity only to invoke devotion. So everyone has his Istadeva and can worship a form to his choice until he has understood that God has no form, and then one can go beyond it. This is an idea that's not in the scriptures. It's a mockery of impersonalism. It is a monstrous idea, factually. Impersonalists see the deity as a medium to go to the impersonalist realization. So the connection between the flag and patriotism is only conception, an imagination. We cannot ascribe these things to the absolute truth based on imagination. It's incorrect. There is a direct connection between the picture and the person. An ex-man, an example. A man keeps a photo of his wife in his wallet, and when he would change the picture, his wife will be furious. So the descending symbolism is that the person has an original reality, and the representation is based on that reality. That is based on the original nature of God and is depicted in the form of the deity. Krishna is the Supreme Lord and is all-pervading. He can manifest wherever he wants. The deity of the Supreme Lord is a manifestation different from him. We perform prana pratishtha, inviting the Lord to descend and manifest in the deity. From that moment the Lord is manifesting himself as the deity. Therefore the deity is non-different from the absolute truth, Chinmaya. Of course we learn from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Atashi Krishna Nama Adina Bhavat Shayam Indriyai Seva Mukhe Jivatir Dam Svam Eva Sparatyada. Because Krishna's form, qualities, pastimes, etc. are all on the absolute platform, material senses cannot therefore appreciate him. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified and gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. So the Lord manifests to us when our senses are purified, that the Lord is merciful and wants to be accessible to us, and therefore he manifests as the deity. Yeah, we will come to these prayers in a while. So when we are elevated to Krishna consciousness, we can see him. Unless that time we need to qualify ourselves by purification through devotional service. Bhagavad Gita 4:11 Yeyatama Prabhachante. Thus for a surrendered soul is always within reach, whereas for the unsurrendered soul is far, far away and cannot be approached. Srila Prabhupada explained that the word guna means qualities, but it can only also means modes. Impersonalists refer to it as meaning qualities. Yeah. So they are thinking, the impersonalists, the absolute truth has no qualities. So they are saying Saguna is having no qualities. But the word guna refers also to modes, sattva, rajas, tamas, and the Lord is transcendental. Nirguna may also mean that the Lord has nothing to do with the modes, is beyond the modes. Nirguni, guna can also mean no qualities, but it can also mean no effect of the modes. So the impersonalists claim that the Lord has no qualities, but the devotees explain that the Lord is unaffected by the modes. Who is right? Jiva Goswami speaks about this in its Sandarbhas, and Baladev Vidyabhusha speaks about it in its Govinda Bhasya. Who is right? The impersonalists say that the absolute truth is pure consciousness. Then that is also a quality, pure consciousness. To say that there are no qualities in the absolute truth, then that is reducing the absolute truth to zero. That's reductionism. So you have as examples the prayers of Gajendra, Gajendra's count is in danger and caught by the crocodile. And he's praying to the Supreme Lord. A personal absolute truth comes to rescue Gajendra, and Gajendra goes back to the absolute truth. The Lord has no qualities of this material world, but has transcendent qualities. Nirguna refers to who has no material qualities. Gajendra prays Arupayo Rupaya. The Lord has no form, but he has at the same time many forms. So how is it that the Lord has no form and has many forms? Nama Acharya Karmane. This is factually amazing. Nirguna refers to the modes, and the absolute has nothing to do with the modes. The Lord has the most attractive spiritual form. So Srila Prabhupada uses also, so this is this verse here on the screen, in various forms, all free from material contamination. Prayers of Gajendra. Then you have Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad said that the Lord is everywhere, and the Lord manifested through a pillar. So Prahlad Maharaj says that the Lord is everywhere. So does Prahlad Maharaj go and offers obeisance to the pillar? No, he respects the pillar because the Lord is there, but he also understands that the Lord is different from the pillar. Prahlad does not offer prayers to the pillar, but to the Lord, sitting in the stone, sitting on the throne. Further. So the Lord pervades everything and at the same time transcends everything. He is present everywhere in this world, but his existence is not limited to this world. And Krishna opened his mouth to show to Yasoda Maya. Yasoda saw the whole universe. Yes. That means Krishna is also separate from the world. He transcends everything. This is the performing of the Prana Pratishta that we spoke about. This is the verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. When we can perceive the Lord when our senses are purified. So yes, of course there are Bhagavad Gita says, Bhavanam Kyan Namate Kyan Mama Papachite Vasyev Sarvameti Samarat Masadulava. After many births, the Jnani, he surrenders to Lord Vasudev. It said to Lord Vasudev that not to everything. Of course, there are two schools of thought, the pantheism. They say everything is God, the table is God. And then pantheism, God pervades everything, but God transcends everything and is beyond everything. Prabhupada concludes the fact is that there is nothing but God, within and without. Everything is a manifestation of his different energies, like the heat and light emanating from fire, and in this way there is a oneness among his diverse energies. Although there is oneness, however, the Lord in his personal form still enjoys unlimitedly all the pleasures enjoyed minutely by the tiny part and partial living entities. This is the commentary I could make on this verse based on the scripture. So, any questions or comments? Yes, Mother Anandita.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. Maharaj, you have shown the example of elephants in a sitting position so that the child can see. So from that we should understand, would you mean to make us understand that deity comes in the form of Archavigra so that we can worship?
Yep, that's
Okay.
the point.
This is a beautiful example. I've never seen,
Yes,
never heard of this. Maharaj,
yes, the Aksha
Maharaj,
is a mercy of the Lord, so that we can serve Him.
yeah. And Maharaj, I want to understand the trans logic again.
Yeah, translogical means that it is not the understanding of Krishna. We cannot understand him by the logic of this world. We cannot understand him by applying the laws in this world. Krishna made these laws for the material world. They are not applicable on the spiritual platform. So logic, you have Hanuman and Pratyaksha. Of course you have more methods, but Pratyaksha is direct sense perception. Krishna is Adokshaya, cannot be perceived by direct sense perception, but also not by Hanuman, by logical conclusion, because it's beyond our logic. Like I said last time, that someone asked Bhakti Charamaj, can Krishna make Govardhan so heavy that he cannot lift it? And his reply was, yes, he can do it, and still he will lift it. So this is beyond our comprehension. This brain is made of matter. We think in terms of logic of this world, but that's not the way to understand Krishna. The way to understand Krishna is Bhakti Amam Abhijanti Yavyasasmi Tatvata Tatamam Tatvato Gatva Vishate Tat Anantam. I can only by understood, Krishna says, by unalloyed devotional service, pure devotional service. And then Krishna reveals himself. He reveals himself to the heart. And that is how we can understand him. If our heart becomes pure, we can understand him. But not on our own power of logic thinking. Does that mean that logic thinking has no use in devotional service? Yes, it is, but only in a supporting manner. When it supports our statements, the statements from the scriptures, then it has some function, but it's limited. It's limited. Yeah. And that is what we have mentioned in the beginning. The spiritual laws are different. 1 + 1 is 1. 1 - 1 is 1. This is spiritual mathematics. It's different than from this world. Here we are limited by time, space, circumstances. But on the spiritual platform there is no limit. So because we speak about matter, we are limited by matter, right? But Narada Muni, he travels in the spiritual and material worlds. Matter does not exist for him. He walks through it. Does not exist for him. different laws. That and Prabhupada makes that point. The scientists, they understand the gross, something about the gross laws, but the subtle laws they didn't understand yet. No understanding of the subtle laws of material nature. They don't understand that Bhumi Rapanala Vayur Kam. Kam, ether, is the Akash, it's the most subtle, gross element, and we can not see it. Yes, 200 years ago they discovered it, because through the ether, radio signals could be sent. But more subtle than ether is mind. More subtle than mind is intelligence, and more subtle than intelligence is false ego. And that they didn't understand. They didn't come to that point of understanding this. That they think that if the body is burnt, the gross body is finished. Where is the soul? There is no soul, no God. But no, the gross body was there because of the subtle body, and the subtle body still exists. It's going its way, and that is a point. Prabhupada speaks about that in a purport on a verse on the 7th chapter of the 1st canto. Asvatthama has created the Brahmastra. And Srila Prabhupada said this Brahmastra is something like the nuclear bomb. But the nuclear bomb is created by chemicals. But the Brahmastra was different, was created by mantra. This mantra created energies on this more subtle level. And the more subtle, the more powerful, that they still have to discover. But Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita how these things work. In the Bhagavatam, that it requires deeper intelligence to understand these things. That science is not yet at that level at the moment. But what to say about understanding the inconceivable? Hare Krishna. Someone else? Something else?
Maharaj, you mentioned in the day before class also this example that His Holiness Bhaktichar Maharaj said that Krishna. I just want to re-understand it in the context of like I've heard from Prabhupada. I heard from some devotee that somebody asked Prabhupada that how can we say that Krishna can be incomplete? Krishna is the complete, because this shloka says that both. If we just take out something, but still Krishna will remain the same. So is it the example, the Govardhan example that you gave, and you just gave also, is it in the context of that? I've heard that Krishna made the Govardhan has become so light that Krishna lifted up. Krishna could lift it for 7 days. But I've heard that Prabhupada said that Krishna can make Govardhan, could make Govardhan so heavy that he could not lift. So is it? I just want to understand it correctly. What was that context?
Yes. So Krishna controls the laws of nature. He can apply them, the law of gravity, or can not apply it, and then it becomes light. Krishna is the master of all mystic powers. So all material laws are not applicable to him. That's transcendental. He's the only one who is independent and who can do what he wants. Really what he wants. Because he controls all the laws, he creates all the laws. And to apply them or not, it's up to him. That is omnipotent, the real meaning of omnipotent. We cannot limit Krishna to the laws of this material world, to our laws of logic. Is beyond. That's the message of these mantras. That's the inconceivable aspect. That again, inconceivable means not that we cannot understand. We can understand to a certain extent if Krishna reveals it to us. Good, something else? Good, then we will stop here with these two mantras and see the second half tomorrow. So, thank you very much. Looking forward to see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada.